But here it is, 2021, and action cameras, we seem to have the field like really starting to thin out. Like THEI, we don't hear from them anymore. And Sjcam, their last camera was the SJ10 Pro. The first one I got was pretty good. Well, the first one, the pins came out. The second one was really good. This last one that came in that was updated was not as good as the previous one. And other than that, we really haven't heard anything from Sjcam. Well, Sjcam sent me out the C200. And in the world of waterproof action cameras, is this one going to be worthwhile? Well, we're going to check it out. And that's coming right up. Just a quick little disclosure before I start this review about this Sjcam C200. Sjcam, they did send me this camera. They did allow me to keep this camera. They did not tell me what to say. They do not get to see this video before it's published, and they did not pay me for this review. So now that that's out of the way, let's get to the review. So when we look at the Sjcam C200, the first thing I notice is, well, it's got that unique body shape on it, and it kind of reminds me of the M20, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on in this video. But I will say that it is very beefy, very, very heavy. It is solid construction on this. It almost feels metal, although I do think it's just a really thick plastic on it. It does have a rear screen. Let me turn this on for you, and then you should see me, I think. Yeah. So it's got a rear screen. It gives you some of the basic information. The menu system is a little bit clunky on this one. To get to the menu system, you actually have to use this side button up, hold it down, and it will slowly take you through the menu system. But other than that, the power on-off button is also used as the record button. So once you quick tap it, it starts to record video. And the microphone, as you can see, is right here on top of the unit. Now, inside the box, what we get is a USB Type-C cable. We get the action camera itself. We get a waterproof case for the camera. Then we get a clip-on little mounting, almost like a little skeleton case with a clip-on mount. So I guess if you wanted to, you could use this as a body camera. And then you get another skeleton case with a GoPro type mount on the bottom of it. But that's enough of the unboxing. Let's get to actual video quality and audio quality, because that's really the big thing about these action cameras, especially here lately. And I know a lot of people have said, well, okay, well, Andre, you're doing a lot of the Akaso stuff. Are you an Akaso shill? No. Akaso's been nice. They've sent me a lot of stuff, and I do appreciate it as always. But their audio has been lacking a little bit. With the audio on this C200, will it be any better? Let's see what the video quality looks. We're going to do 2K. I'm not going to do 4K. It does do 4K, but it's 4K 24 frames per second. And you have to keep in mind that the processing chip in this one here is a Novatech 96660, so it's not capable of a true 4K. So it is interpolated at 24 frames a second. I'm not going to do that video at all. We're going to do 2K, a 1080p at 60, 1080p at 30, audio test, may even throw it into the pool, have my daughter help me out with that. And then we may even compare it to the Sjcam M20 to see, is there any similarities there? And stabilization, is it any good on this camera? So let's get to that video right now. Okay, now I'm going to test out the audio microphone from the built-in microphone on the C200 from Sjcam. Quick little audio test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm approximately about 1.5 feet away from the camera, just to give you a little rough idea about audio. So just hand holding this, walking around the pool, just seeing how the image stabilization looks, hand holding this. I can't do a lot of running right now. Maybe in another couple of weeks or a couple of months by the time this leg heals up from surgery and all this. The detail, we'll look up into the trees, see, do we see any purple fringing at all? My experience with SJ cameras is that there's not any purple fringing in any of the videos, so that's very nice as far as optics. Pool looks so good, but with the bum leg, I cannot get into the pool, not yet. But I may get my daughter to take this camera and throw it into the pool. Now there's one thing I did notice about the C200 when I'm digging through the menu system, and I will say that the menu system for me is a little bit clunky the way that you have to do it, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. But there is no option in the menu system to adjust the field of view, which is very interesting. Now I'm going to try to connect this to the Sjcam app and see if there's a setting in the app that I can adjust the field of view. So I'm not really sure what's going on with the field of view portion, but I haven't looked at any of this footage, so I really don't know how wide the field of view actually is. I have one viewer that asked me about the fig tree and what's going on with it. Yes, it's still dead. No, I have not cut the dead portion down, although I need to, but all of this is still dead right here. So all this needs to come down. Although, see all of these fig leaves? I guess the root system is still alive, and it started upshoots everywhere. And since I was talking about Sjcam, and it's always had the ability to shoot really good 1080p, I figured I'd shoot 1080p 30 frames per second right now, just to let you see what image quality actually looks like. So this is 1080p at 30 frames per second. And then we'll switch over to 1080p at 60. Alright, this is 1080p 60 frames per second. Hand holding this little Sjcam C200. It is a very unique shape on the camera. It kind of reminds me of the, not the M10, the M20, I think that's which one it was, as far as its body shape. But we'll see how this 1080p at 60 frames per second looks. Got sunlight up there. Back outside in the rain, but then again, this camera, it is a little bit waterproof. So a quick little audio test before I try this little lapel microphone that came with this camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I've got the lapel microphone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I said, it's a little bit of rain coming down. It's just a much needed thing here in Texas. But just to see, does the audio sound a little bit better? Now, the audio was a little bit muffled from the inbuilt microphone, but that seems to be the issue with a lot of these waterproof cameras because of the little waterproof membrane. But we're going to see, does this extra or external lapel microphone help the audio? Let's take it in the computer and see how it sounded. Okay, and since I made a comment about the new C200 looking a lot like the old M20 from Sjcam, since they basically have the same chipset, we're just going to look at audio quality real quick. The C200, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now the M20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a little walking stabilization test between the two just to see, does the new camera have actually better stabilization than the old M20? So in conclusion, when you look at some of the video clips and you see the video resolution and you see the comparison between the M20 and this new C200, and then you hear the audio. And yes, it does come with an external audio or an external microphone that they sent me. And they were nice enough to send me a little 16 gig Class 10 card. So the Class 10 card is not a U3 speed, it is U1. So that lets me know that the chip is not capable of a true 4K. But, even with the external microphone, the audio wasn't that great. It wasn't that loud. And I did have the volume set on this to the maximum of 8. So it goes in increments from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 being the loudest. With the internal microphone, it was very muffled. Now I understand these waterproof cameras, they do have that little waterproof membrane on it. So to keep it waterproof so that you don't have water that infiltrates into the camera itself. But I think that this whole waterproof thing, unless you really get with your engineers and design a membrane that works well with the microphone, or get a microphone that has a built-in membrane and its intentional use is to be waterproof, I would stay away from trying to put these membranes into these action cameras and try to make them waterproof. Just get you an action camera with good audio, forget the membrane, include a waterproof case for it, and you're good to go. So what do I think about this C200? I like Sjcam. Sjcam was a big supporter of this channel. And when I mean supporter, I don't mean financially. They would send me a lot of their cameras. SJ5000X Elite, the M20, the SJ6 Legend, the SJ7 Star, SJ9 Strike, which was a total... the SJ8 Pro, which was actually a very good camera and still is a good camera. And then the SJ10 Pro, the second one that I got that didn't have the pinfall out, it actually worked very well as well. So now they've kind of gone backwards a little bit to that Novatech chip. Nothing wrong with the Novatech chip considering when you're on a budget. But when you're talking about something in this price range, I don't know. For the consumer, who is this action camera for? I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be for somebody that uses a GoPro and goes out and records themselves skiing or going deep dive snorkeling. This may be for somebody that is family oriented and just wants to go out and record some family videos and maybe go to the water park and have the waterproof case on or without the waterproof case and get into a little bit of water just to kind of film your family. Do I think it's worth it or not? I'm going to give this one. I'm going to give this one honestly, just based on the audio. And I don't know what the deal is with the audio with all these action cameras now. Stop it with trying to be waterproof. Give us some decent audio. Get a good microphone and give us some good audio. But this one here, I'm going to give like a 3/4 of one thumb up on this Sjcam. Maybe they're going to come out with a new firmware. I did try to connect it to my Sjcam phone app, which I really hate using third-party apps on a phone. But I tried to connect it. It would never connect, so I couldn't even tell if there was a firmware update for it. And then I went to Sjcam's website, and the website was down. So I don't know what's really going on with all that. So can I recommend it? For me personally, I think your money's better spent on an Osmo Action. You get great audio, 4K, 4K 60, rock steady, all that. But I will put a link to this camera in the description below so you can check it out for yourself, along with Osmo Action. And there's a great sale going on with that Osmo Action right now. So that's my 2 cents on this C200 from Sjcam. And as always, I'll catch you in the next review. Bye-bye.